Nelson with Cascade Sports, and today we have the head coach of St. Teresa's High School Volleyball and two of her seniors that graduated. Who do we have here, Coach?
We have Maggie and we have Kayla, and they are both going to be seniors this upcoming season.
This upcoming season?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Hey, Coach, tell our audience, first of all, a little bit about yourself, how long you've been coaching there, and give them a rundown what you've been able to bring to St. Teresa's since you've been there. And have you been there long enough where you've been able to recruit your own girls and really put your program in place instead of the last coach? I know that's a lot of things to ask, but that's how it is.
I got it. Okay, so my name's Adair, and this is going to be my 5th season at St. Teresa's Academy, which is crazy to think about. It's been a really fun 5 years. We've made several state Final Four appearances. We've won districts every year that I've been the head coach at STA. We've been ranked top 50 in the country just about every year consistently. So it's been a really fun ride. We've had awesome senior classes and just been blessed to work with a good group of girls. And I think everyone's seen the energy that our team brings every season and all the fun that we have every season. That just makes girls want to come play with us and play for us naturally.
All right. Why don't you introduce your seniors to be?
Okay. So our seniors to be, first we have Maggie. She is an outside hitter. And second, we have Kayla. She's a DS libero.
Who's first on the block? Who wants to start talking first?
Maggie.
Maggie.
Sure.
All right.
I had a feeling that was coming.
Hey, Maggie. This is what I want you to do. Give our audience a little rundown. I talked to you off camera about our interviews are somewhat unorthodox, and we really want our sports fans to know who you are. None of that plasticity that goes around normally. Who you are, how long you've been playing, and the road to the success that you have right now. And then if you don't remember some things, I'll run it down to you. And I want you to give credit to some of the coaches and individuals that help you develop your skill set, not just on the court, but off the court. And the reason Cascade is doing these type interviews at this point is because one of the major stars at North Carolina Tar Heels basketball, I was reading an article about a week ago and looked at his little video, and he was saying that the people, they knew him as the basketball player. They didn't know him as the person. And with our student athletes, y'all are more than just athletes on the field representing the schools. You're individuals, and this is a time for you to let your school fans, your friends, and people that want to know you know a little bit about yourself. So go ahead and run it on down from the time you came
Go,
out.
Maggie.
Okay. So I'm Maggie McInerney, as Coach B said, Coach A. I've been playing volleyball since like 3rd grade and club volleyball since 6th grade, I think. I've been on STA varsity since I was a freshman, which has been STA volleyball has been like my favorite thing I've ever been a part of, and we've had a lot of success so far. And I'm very excited about this upcoming season. In March, I committed to UChicago to play in college. And so it'll be fun because Kayla will play in college too, and so we'll both have the same.
All right, let's back it on up. Back it on up, and let's talk about recreational volleyball.
Yeah.
Who the coaches were, if you can remember. Then when you decided to play seriously and play club volleyball, and let's let's talk about some people that influenced you off the court to a degree, and again, let's give mom and pops, because I know that's who it was. All them daggone practices and driving back and forth, and like they don't have a life, and you take over their life when you wind up playing those sports a lot. Run that down, what that was like, and what kind of relationship you had with your coaches and your parents.
Yes. Okay. So I don't remember a ton of my rec coaches since I started playing club really early, but from the beginning, both of my club directors, especially Christy Lutman, who's coached me quite a bit throughout the club process, have like influenced me a lot just because they're tough coaches and kind of require the best out of you at all times. And I would definitely say Coach B, when I got to high school, that was a totally new type of coaching that I hadn't experienced yet that had a very big effect on the way.
What was the difference?
Christy, which is my club director, my previous coach, is super very hard. So is Coach B, but very hard on you just in a different way, and kind of had the mindset of regardless of everything else, on the court, emotions aside, to get the job done. Whereas Coach B tells us to play into our emotions in a good way and to let your investment and kind of passion play a big part in your playing style, which for me at least, has helped me tremendously, because being so invested shows on the court and it helps you play better.
What else did you learn from, because a lot of athletes don't learn certain lessons in a coach that's coaching you, a coaching style. And as you go move up, if you was to play on the national team or the junior national team, different coaches have different philosophies, but at the same time as you being the athlete, you still have to perform. How did you adjust to the different philosophies and the different ways that styles?
I think I just kind of recognized that I had a lot of room to grow, and so I was kind of willing to absorb all of it, if that makes sense. And Coach B was also the first coach I ever had that kind of made me realize how big of a part the mental game plays in it. So I had always been kind of taught to push that aside, which isn't necessarily a bad thing when you're trying to get recruited and just play well and get the job done. But I also came to realize especially in high school volleyball, when it's a lot more team oriented and based, that the mental game when it comes to big games and big moments is the difference between winning and losing.
What was the biggest moment thus far in your career? What puts the biggest smile on your face from a team win or a team gathering, or that so many players talk about that sisterhood?
Yeah, well, that's another thing. I think the STA culture is a huge thing to play off of in our program, just because it's so instilled in all of us, and it shows, and everyone knows that it shows too. But as far as biggest moment, there's a lot to pick from. My junior year or my sophomore year, we won sectionals to go to state. That was a really big moment. And also when we went out to play Redondo Union and Mater Dei, those were both tough games, but I think to me it just showed it elevated our program a lot, and it kind of gave us, even though that, like I said, they were tough games and tough losses, they showed us that we could hang with some of the best players in the country, and kind of gave us this confidence that we needed, but it also humbled us in a way that we also needed.
That's what I want to know about also. What was your tear moment? What was the crush moment? And tell not only when you got crushed and cried, tell the audience how you felt and why you felt that way.
That's a good question. So I think last season we actually lost in sectionals in the finals, and that was the first time in my 4 years that we hadn't been to state. And I think last year, above all other years, was the year that we were picked to win state. We were top 25 in the country most of the season, and we were getting a lot of attention and press and awards, and it was kind of an upset game, but nevertheless against a good team, and so we had to give them props as well because they deserved it. But that was definitely that was
Sounds
to me.
grudgingly you gave them their props.
Well, I mean, it was a tough time for all of us. The next couple of weeks and months, and even getting into club, it was very hard to get over. And I think a lot of us are still kind of reconciling with it a bit, but also realizing that we need to look to the future more than ever right now. But that was definitely, to me, that was one of the hardest.
This program is brought to you by the City of Fountains Coaches Association.
As James Brown would say, the big payback.
We have a lot to prove this year, and I think that's exciting. But I mean, nevertheless, definitely a lot to prove.
When by me being a previous athlete, and a lot of times that loss affects your fans just as much. I can remember seeing Muhammad Ali lose a fight, and it was like I lost my best friend or my family, and that lingered for months.
Yeah, I know it really affected my parents a lot too, I know, because they can't like play in the game for us, nor can they like understand exactly what it feels like. They just kind of have to like sit back and let you kind of like grieve in your own
Run it
way,
down. What coach say to you? What was coach talking about? I want to know how she was putting it together.
I mean, Coach B knows. She's the one who picks who gets to be a part of this program, so she knows how invested we are and how passionate we all are about it. So she wasn't mad because that would have done no good at that time. And it was actually another thing that kind of like I think affected us all in a great way. The coming weeks after that, we all met every day after school and just talked about like how we were feeling about the loss, which I think showed just how important all of it is to us. But we weren't placing blame on anyone because we knew obviously no one could have ever seen that coming, nor was anyone prepared to not get to where we were expecting to get and where we had put the work in to be. But Coach B came from where she worked every day after school and just sat with us and talked through the loss and tried to get us kind of going into club volleyball, which was important because at least for like Kayla and I, our age, this year of club, what we got of it was really, really important for recruiting. And I think Coach B knew that and our other coaches knew that. And we're trying to kind of get us mentally like prepared for club because we had a job to do and we had to get recruited, and we weren't going to do that by like wallowing in the loss of sectionals, even though that was a tough thing to get over.
All right. How do you plan to wind up this season, even though we don't really understand what the dynamics are going to be as it relates to playing in the gym, playing in front of crowd, or just recorded games? But what do you have planned for this season from a leadership standpoint, from a grade, because Cascade Sports is home of the student athlete, and from where you see yourself going for 221?
Yeah. So our end result goal remains the same. I think the state title has been on all of our minds since we stepped in the gym freshman year, and it's kind of been instilled in us. But I think now we have a better idea of like how hard we need to work, because I think last year especially, like we left knowing that we probably could have put in even if it was just like a little bit more. And I know I don't ever want to have that feeling again, and I don't think any of us do. And regarding academics, that's never been an issue on our team. Everyone holds each other accountable for academics, and everyone wants to excel academically, which is just part of the culture at St. Teresa's. And that goes along with our team culture. So, but I think it'll definitely be different this season, every dynamic of school and playing. And so everyone's just kind of going to have to come together, and I think we're going to have to rely on each other more than we ever have.
All right, and winding down your part of this interview, I still want you to give props.
Yes.
Somebody needs the.
Yeah, I would love to give props to both my parents. As you said before, volleyball is not a very easy sport to be a parent of, I think. It's very stressful, and you're traveling every weekend and taking practices and workouts, and which is every single day in the summer, every single day during the school year.
Maggie, you started to echo. You might have to lower it back on.
Is it still echoing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Just turn your Wi-Fi off and turn it back on.
Okay.
And see if that helps.
Okay, is it working?
No, it's still echoing.
Should I try to leave and come back?
Yeah, try and leave and come back.
Okay, I'll do it.
See if that works. I bet that will work. Mr. Nelson, you're still on mute. Kayla, so are you.
Thank you. We have our assistant director, program director. Hey, Kayla, the ball is in your court, and now what we want you to do is tell our audience a little bit about yourself. When did you start playing? How long you've been playing? Also, from recreational to club. What that means and how that affects your ability to build your skill set to be in the top echelon of the game, the high school game at this point.
All right, so I've been playing since 6th grade. I've been doing clubs since then, and like we said, I'm about to be a senior.
What
I've
club?
also Club Dynasty. I'm actually here right now, so
All
that's
right.
fun. Yep. And I also do sand volleyball. I've been doing that for this will be my 3rd year, and we're going to nationals this year, later this month. And some of the coaches that have influenced me or just helped me in this whole
When did you start?
journey.
Let's go from when you started. Recreational, or did you automatically start trying to be competitive?
Well, I started actually playing volleyball in like 3rd grade with our school just because my friend wanted to play.
And
so her
school
mom
was that?
started playing. I went to Hope Lutheran Middle School.
All right.
Out
Well,
in, like,
people
Shawnee,
don't know.
Kansas.
We want you to tell the people who you are, where you come from, and all of that. Run it down.
All right, so 3rd grade we did that, and we just played in some summer leagues at some gym. Wasn't really anything really intense, but that's when I kind of fell in love with the game. So then I knew I had to take it to like the next level when I was in 6th grade, and that's when I started doing club over at Summit, I think it was, and
All right.
then I
Now,
moved
this
around a
is the point
couple of times.
I want to make because I did this on soccer yesterday, but I'm concerned about the Urban Core's ability to compete, and I'm trying to really bring to the attention that you can play in school, but unless you play club in the summertime, your skill set is going to remain at a certain level, and correlating club with a lot of times the club you play on, some of those girls play on your high school team also, and all of that makes a difference in you escalating to the next level. And so that's why I'm asking you about recreational versus when you started playing, wanted to play competitive, and what made you go to club?
Well, what made me go to club was around the time I started thinking about, like, this is something I'd probably want to do in college, like we talked about, and I knew that I probably couldn't get recruited from simply just playing in middle school and playing in high school just off that alone, because it's a completely different ball game when you're out and you're on a club team and you're traveling around and you're playing like teams from, say, like Texas and California and Florida, and you're really getting that like exposure to everything, because that's what it's like in college. You're not just going to play against people just like right next door. You're going to go around and you're going to play a lot of different people who are really like competitive. So I feel like that's kind of like the difference between recreational and club. You just get more exposure and it's more competitive.
And playing club, this is the other thing that I've been trying to educate some of the Urban Core parents and people that want to know well, why do our kids lose so badly to these private schools and these charter schools? Because you're not just playing when the school year, you're playing basically year round, and that requires, as I was saying to you, Maggie, and it requires of you also, Kayla, your parents playing taxi, and not just playing taxi, being banker, because those club fees are no joke.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Kayla.
Yeah, that's something that's really important. And I know I talk about that with my mom a lot because especially now we're doing a lot of traveling around to like different colleges. So that's even a different expense on top of like club and then getting all your gear and then your traveling fees like normally and then all the other expenses that you don't even really think about until the time comes. So that's really important. And I thank my mom like every day for that and the time that she puts in because it's just not me. There's so many people behind the scenes that are putting in work so that I can thrive. So shout out to all of them.
Yeah, and if you got them, anyone you want to mention in particular, that's what this is about. And Maggie, if you forgot, we'll get back with you, get your names together so that you can let the people know, hey, I just didn't arrive here by myself. I arrived here because of all the attention that you gave me and help. Go, Kayla. Run it down.
All right, they've been waiting for this one. I want to shout out to my mom, first of all, of course. She's
What's her name? The audience don't know their names.
Pamela K. Smocks. This one is for you. I love you completely. Along with my dad, Arthur Smocks. They both are very impactful in my life and have gotten me to where I'm at today. Also, my grandmother, Virginia Flowers. I love her dearly. She also helps me spiritually. We're like a really spiritual family. And she keeps me going like in the tough times. So shout out to her. Shout out to my aunt Nina and my uncle Ed. They are always there to support me. They always tell me that I'm the best in the whole world, even if I don't think so. They always uplift me. So shout out to them. And just all my other family members who have tagged along on this journey because it's been a long ride. So thanks.
What was your season like, your personal season last year?
For club? Or for
the school, St. Teresa's?
Last year, I think it was pretty solid. I know a lot. We talked about
1 to 10. 1 to 10. Let's rate. Let's get something that we can understand. Not pretty good. 1 to 10. What was that season?
I'd say it was a solid 8. No, I give it a 7.5, only because the ending was definitely not what we expected. But we had a really good start. We started off winning the Metro Slam. That's something that's really important to us because it's televised and everyone can see it. And that was a chance for us to like prove ourselves. So winning that was very important. And I say at the beginning of the season, we started off with an 8. And it was an 8 most of the season just until we got until that last part. And it
got crushed. So they crushed you.
Okay, we didn't get crushed.
I don't know if I would say crushed.
I don't know about that.
Boy, are they vigorously defending that? All right, till your minor loss, your minor setback.
Yeah, but it was really, like Maggie said, it kind of hurt. It really hurt, like a lot.
I liked it. It didn't kind of hurt, it really hurt.
Sometimes I'm up late thinking about that, but like we said, we got to let things go so that we can thrive in this season because we've got new people coming in and we can't just hold on to last season. We've got new goals.
What do you plan to do? What do you plan to do to take this team to the next level where they can bring home the big trophy?
First of all, we need to set our clear goals at the beginning of the season. Oh, me. I'm going to make sure. I'm going to make sure we set our clear goals at the beginning of the season so that everyone is on the same page and there's no confusion about what's going on. We have steps that we need to like achieve first. It's not just go to state because there are steps to get there and that's what we need to start with first. And so I'm going to hold our lower classmen accountable as well as my fellow seniors. We all need to be on the same page and I'm going to make sure that happens because we are not losing again.
All right. Now, where were you at with your game, your personal game, 1 to 10 last year?
I'll give it a 8.3.
What do you plan?
It's pretty solid.
what do you plan to do for this senior season? Because I'm like Kreskin. I know y'all young. Y'all don't know nothing about Johnny Carson. But I want you to give me where you going to be at a game or two before the end of the season with your personal play. How much are you going to raise that? Because I'm going to ask Coach, because I'm going to play this back.
I'm going to be at a solid 10 by the end of the season. I mean, there's no doubt about it. It's go hard or go home at this point. We've got nothing to lose. Last season, might as well just put in all the work we've got. I mean, why wait? Now is the time, so let's do it. We've got something to prove, and that's our motto this year. So let's do it. I mean, no regrets. That's what I plan on leaving. I plan on leaving with a ring. I hope everyone's on the same page. If not, I'll get them there. But we need a ring. So.
All right. Who's been the biggest influence for you off the court?
Off the court, I'd probably say my mother, of course. She's always there as soon as I get off the court, asking me how I feel about what happened, if it was good or bad, how I'm going to make any improvements or what I'm going to do next, how it's going to go. So she's really the backbone to me personally. So, and with her, it's not just volleyball. It's also, like we said, academics, as we're student athletes. So she's always pushing me in the classroom, on the court, off the court, everything I do in life. So she's definitely the biggest influence off court.
How's your tenure been at St. Teresa's on a 1 to 10? And don't give me bologna. I need steak. How have you liked and adjusted to St. Teresa's over the last 4 years?
For me, it's been always going uphill every year. I love St. Teresa's. Not even on any bologna, I'd give it a 9.7.
Wow, no bologna?
No bologna, 9.7. But of course, there's always room for improvement. There's always something that everyone else can bring and I can bring personally. So I'll give it that. And I plan on being, like I said, at a 10 by the end of this season. So St. Teresa's 8.7.
Hey, Maggie.
Or 9.7. 9.7.
What's your take on from the time you was there also? Run it down.
No bologna either. Probably when I started, probably like a 9 or so, but I would honestly give it like a 9.8 probably right now. I love everything about St. Teresa's. And I only give it below a 10 because I think there's even more things that I don't know about to love and more.
And what do you plan to do to bring I think I had this conversation last year, Coach, about your bringing this daggone trophy home. I don't want to have this conversation again. What do you plan to do about bringing this trophy where it belongs?
Kayla and I are on the same page. We've both given everything these past 4 years, and I'm not going to leave without a state title because I refuse to believe that anyone else deserves it more than we do. And we're going to demand that everyone be on the same page. And
on top of their game?
Everyone's going to have to be at the height of their game, but I also think that there's not really a ceiling with this team. So it might be the height at the time, which is good, but I think it can always be raised, and it's going to be.
All right. Are you shouting out to anybody? Because I'm getting ready to get with the coach, and then we're going to wrap things up. Who you shouting out to?
I will first shout out both my parents, my mom, Michelle McInerney, and my dad, Pat McInerney. They have both been there in the highs and lows of club and school ball. And like Kayla said, they're always the first ones there off the court asking what I think about it, what I need to do, what they can do to help me be better. And academically, they both expect the exact same amount of investment and time put in, or even more so, actually. And they've both seen me at my best and worst with volleyball and off the court too. I was injured for like a year, almost a year, my club season, my whole 16s year, and then my 16th summer, everything with recruiting, they were there the entire time, and that's not an easy process at all. And also both of my siblings, because as we said before, it's a lot of time away, it's a lot of time traveling, a lot of time at practices, games.
What's their names? My audience don't know who they are. But
my brother, Jack McInerney. my brother Jack and my sister Allie. They're both in college now, but both my parents are traveling a lot of the time with me and always at games and practices, and so they've kind of had to compromise on time too and understand the sacrifices that go into it. So they've both been a big part of that too, and they've both always been willing to listen to the good and bad parts of everything, club and school and recruiting and everything in between.
All right, in closing down, this is the last thing I want out your mouth. What are you going to give advice to a young freshman? And then I want you, Kayla, to think about that also.
Okay.
I would say to a freshman, and I think we tell this to them now, is that it's like nothing short of a privilege to get to be a part of STA volleyball. And I think to let it kind of like consume you in all the good and bad ways, as far as your investment is the best way to go, because there's so much to learn and there's so much to be a part of and to be proud of about getting to represent STA and getting to play next to the people that you get to play to and to play for the coach we get to play for. And so I think just to be 100% all in and to always keep raising the standards for yourself and everyone around you, because everyone around you is going to expect the most of you and expect you to deliver everything that you expect from yourself.
All right, Kayla, ball's in your court.
To an incoming freshman, I'd first start off with saying, first of all, just be coachable, because it's completely different from middle school going into high school, especially at St. Teresa's. We're really competitive over here. So listen to your coaches. They know what they're talking about. Even if you think you know, you don't. So listen to your coaches. Listen to your seniors, because we've been here for a while. We kind of know how this works, and we're only here to help you and help the team improve. So listen, work with yourself, like know where you're going to go, and just be there, live in the moment, and do what you got to do.
How important is scheduling your time?
I'd say scheduling your time is very important. With playing a club sport, you go 3 days a week, 2-hour practices, then you've got your school almost all day, and then your high school practice. It's just a lot. So you need to make sure that, first of all, you're taking some time for yourself and your mentality, and making sure you're straight, because that'll help you in school. It'll help you on the court. So just time management is very important.
All right, girls. Hey, Coach, now the ball's in your court. I want you to talk about your program a little bit. What are your goals with the program? And we know to win state or what have you, but in general, and what's your take on your career as a coach? Are there other things that you're looking to pursue? And how does it feel to see these young girls and you reminisce about when you were in high school and the coach, you were looking up to the coach and you know, getting ready to go to that next level? If you can encompass that.
Yeah. I would say being able to like coach and mold young women is just like the best opportunity and the best thing I can do in my life. It's what brings me joy. And as far as like my career goals right now is just coaching. I mean, you never know in the future what it could bring, but I love coaching at STA. It brings me joy every single day. It's kind of like my fire and fuel to like keep me going. But yeah, I would definitely say as a coach and just having the privilege to coach the young girls, like molding them into being like independent, strong, independent thinking young women. Like at the end of the day, that's the main goal. Obviously a state title every year is the goal. It's going to come. The sweetest things take a lot of time. It's going to come. But regardless, I know year after year, like we've molded some of like the best and smartest women I've ever known. So that's the goal year after year, and I feel like we've done a really good job of that.
Do you have any ambitions of possibly trying to coach college?
I don't. People ask me that often. When you coach college, you have to move around a lot and like be really flexible with where you're willing to live. And I love Kansas City. I was born and raised here. I want to raise my kids here, and so I don't really have any ambitions of going anywhere else.
How do you feel the overall community has accepted you and your team with support?
I think it's been really great. We have an awesome fan base. All of the parents are really positive and really supportive of our team. It's always fun at tournaments because we travel pretty deep with all of our parents, and they're just in the fans with their signs every game, super loud. So I think the community's been really great and really supportive. And every year we do community service for the community, so we try to give back to those who support us.
Hey, Coach, as always, it's a plum-pleasing pleasure to have you on the show with your girls. And we'll be over once we get how the season's going to unfold over to the actual school to once y'all get heated up to get some more interviews with some of your players. And I think you already know, I said this the last time, we like to get some of your freshmen, give them some action with the cameras so that they know it's not all about the upperclassmen, that they can get some camera time. And as we always say in closing, when you invest in your community, you're really just investing in yourself.
This program is brought to you by the City of Fountains Coaches Association.